Well done.
Order Milo.
Oh, okay. Good morning. Rather late morning lah, okay? So nearly lunchtime. Good afternoon. Hi, you're watching Greg's Big Eats, and I'm here at Adam Road Food Centre to talk about what I consider to be the best soup kambing Indian mutton soup in Singapore. Bahrakath mutton soup was started in the late 60s by a South Indian man named Rahmatullah. He was an immigrant from Tamil Nadu, which is located in the south of India, and he started a street side stall selling soup kambing and prata near the old Tekka market. In 1973, the government relocated him to Adam Road Food Centre, and the business has been here ever since. The business is now in the hands of Rahmatullah's son, Syed Abdul Rahman, now 61 years old. He took over in 2005, and now the business is being run by Syed, his 50-year-old wife who does the cooking, and his 35-year-old son. So come, let's have a taste. Before I jump into the rest of the video, I just want to give a big thank you and shout out to the sponsor of this video, Surfshark VPN. Now that borders have been opening up and people have been traveling more and more, you and plenty of people will be logging into a lot of random Wi-Fi hotspots in airports, coffee shops, and so on. These hotspots are generally not secure, and they are an easy way for hackers to gain access to your personal information. I'm sure you've experienced this. You're searching for something on the internet or chatting with your friends online, then suddenly whatever you've been talking about starts popping up everywhere while you surf. That's people gaining access to your personal information. So what Surfshark VPN does is to encrypt and secure your personal information before you use the internet. And this way, the wrong people won't have access to your personal information. Surfshark also has something called Surfshark Alert, where it will notify you whenever somebody is trying to gain access to your email. On the entertainment front, if you want to explore what Netflix content looks like in other countries, you can actually trick the streaming service into thinking that you are in another country, so you gain access to their movies and TV shows. So for the security, the privacy, and the convenience, that is why I recommend Surfshark VPN. So if you're interested, you can use my coupon code GREGSBIGEATS, and that'll get you a whopping 85% off and 3 months free for Singles Day. I have a link in the description box below, and now back to the review. Hi, how are you doing? Hi. Can I have mutton and tripe mix, but $10?
Makan here.
Makan. And then one bread. Okay, I'm back from the stall, and what I have here is basically a bowl of their mutton meat plus tripe, and that costs $14. Okay, and then some of their bread. If you were to order the meat alone, that would be $10 lah. $8 or $10, depending on how much you want. So the prices, I mean, they are pricey lah. But mutton soup has always been a pricier option lah when it comes to hawker food anyway. So firstly, the broth. So this is the mutton soup. It's got some meat, some tripe, some fried onions on top, chopped coriander. Try the broth first. Freaking amazing. I mean, it is definitely a cut above all the other soup kambing that I have tried in Singapore. It is thick, it's robust, and it's got a medium spiciness, low to medium spiciness, and the thickness of the broth is very unique. It is not a normal broth thickness that is thickened by starch and water or potato. I tried asking the owner, but apparently it's a secret recipe which Syed will not reveal. But the result is this amazingly thick broth where you can't detect any starchiness at all. Pretty amazing. As for the taste, it has a medium savouriness, and you can distinctly taste the spices. There's lots of fresh coriander and fried onions in every mouthful because they put a decent amount of fried onions on top. And also there's a nice full oil richness as well. Apparently the spices are bought then custom blended by Syed and his family at his home. The broth is also freshly made every day. The wife starts cooking the broth at 8 AM and gets it ready for the stall's opening time at 11 AM. Now for the meat. The meat is cut up into bite-sized pieces, and the texture is soft with a bit of bite now. It's well cooked. The meat itself isn't that heavily seasoned, or it isn't seasoned at all. But with such a good broth, it isn't really necessary. The source of the meat is actually frozen sheep meat from Australia, which is what most mutton soup stalls get. Very few stalls will actually opt for the sheep meat from New Zealand or Brazil because it tends to be more expensive. Next, the tripe. The tripe has been cut up into maybe a bit larger than bite-sized pieces, and it has been cooked a long time, such that the texture is super soft and melted. It's very nice. Okay, next, the bread. Fairly fluffy. Okay. I mean, the bread looks good. It's like local French bread lah, where it comes a little crustier maybe on the outside. Not really that crusty, frankly, as compared to real French loaf lah. And that's a little bit softer than is normal at mutton soup stalls lah. It tastes roughly the same as all the bread used for SUP KAMBING lah. Meaning that it's a bit dry, it's white bread. Maybe there's a slight sweetness and saltiness. On the bright side, it is not as dry as compared with the bread served at other SUP KAMBING stalls. But then again, it doesn't really matter that it's a bit dry because you'll be dunking the bread in the broth. So fantastic. Okay, finished, but I'll be back at the stall one more time to try the other parts that they offer lah. The ribs, the tulang, what else, and the tongue. So see you in a few days. So I'm back at Bahrakath Mutton Soup to try the other mutton parts that they have on offer. And today I've got their mutton ribs and tongue mixed, and I have a bowl of their mutton leg, which is mutton bones or tulang. They also offer mutton brains, but unfortunately the stall hasn't been able to get stock of brains for almost half a year. In Syed's father's time, the range was even more extensive. The stall used to sell more interesting parts like sheep's penis and sheep's eyeball, but nowadays suppliers don't even sell it, even if stalls want to buy it. So tasting the broth again just to double confirm. Oh, just as good. And if you want to up the flavour even more, you can add some white pepper and some dark soy sauce into the mix. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple of drops in, and some white pepper, just on this side. The broth takes on a darker hue as a result. So tasting just this bit. And of course, it gives it much more of a peppery kick. And the dark soy sauce will add even more richness and a bit of sweetness, very slight, into a broth that is really quite potent. So trying the mutton ribs. It's very nice. It's cooked through with a nice softness, but it still has a bit of bite to it. The mutton flavour is very distinct. So you have to love the smell and the taste of mutton. So this dish, SUP KAMBING, is purely for mutton lovers. And there's a lot of connective tissue and fat and meat, and it isn't as boring as compared to normal muscle meat. Next, the mutton tongue. Oh, very soft today. Wow. Now you have to be a foodie to really appreciate tongue. It can be tougher than pure muscle meat, so it has to be cooked longer. And the flavour is a little bit more rich and more intense. And here it is cooked very, very nicely, very tender, with a bit of what I call a firm, spongy bite. Look at this one. This one really looks like a tongue. Yeah? Next, the leg, the mutton bone, tulang. It costs $8 and you get 4 bones, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, correct. And they are on the smaller side. The other downside is that while there is a lot of gristle and gelatinous bits and connective tissue, there isn't much meat on it. But thankfully the gristle, gelatinous bits, they're all cooked very nicely. Sometimes it comes a little firmer than what I would like, but today it is quite nicely cooked, quite meltingly soft. But of course, the other big reason why you order this is for the marrow. No luck. Not sure if you can see it, but it's right there. Tell you, man. And of course, it tastes wonderful, rich and buttery. My one complaint about the tunang is that because there's not enough meat, right? You get 4 bones and it comes as $8, right? It's not quite worth it, lah. You know, that's the only thing. So if they would actually give a little bit more meat, make it a little bigger, then it'll be more worth it, lah. Now that was a satisfying lunch. My first meal of the day after breaking my fast of about 18 hours or so. Okay, finished, but before I end, let me talk about the Nasi Biryanis that they offer here as well. The Biryanis are a relatively new addition to the menu. It was introduced in 2014 and they have chicken and mutton options. They used to offer fish biryani, but the prices of fish are so expensive now that they decided to stop selling them. As for the quality, the biryanis are good but can be inconsistent. Sometimes very good, sometimes so-so. The biryani prices are also on the high side, $8 each. But the meat portions are pretty big, so it's quite worth the money. The meats are well cooked with a nice tender firmness. When spot on, the masala gravy is thick and robust, with a nice oil richness, but unfortunately it's cooked with vegetable oils, so it's very bad for your health. There's a decent chili spiciness to the taste, the spices are well fried, and there is a nice moderate savouriness. But the savouriness could be more robust. It isn't enough to support the biryani rice, which can be a little bland. The rice is not salted and spiced enough and doesn't have enough of that buttery ghee flavour. That said, high quality long grain basmati rice is actually used, but it's cooked sometimes a little soft, sometimes a little toothy, so it's not consistent as well. On the bright side, the achar is very unique and interesting. It has lots of interesting vegetables and aromatics inside, carrots, cucumbers, green chilies and onions. They come nice and crunchy, and it has a big chili flavour, which is mildly sweet, and there's some sesame seeds sprinkled on top. It's a very nice understated achar, where you can still taste the vegetables and aromatics. And the chili and sweetness very nicely enhances that. The dalcha, the lentil gravy, which they dish out, is good as well. It's properly done with a nice amount of melted lentils inside. It's quite thick, moderately savoury, and it's got a bit of tanginess in the flavour. Note that they don't always give out dalcha. Sometimes they will give out their thick masala if the dalcha isn't ready in time or if they've run out of it. So that was a look at Adam Road Food Centre's Bahrakath mutton soup. But would I travel half across Singapore to eat here? Absolutely yes. To me, this stall is the new king of SUP KAMBING in Singapore. I haven't found a better SUP KAMBING in Singapore to date, and I've eaten at many SUP KAMBING stalls. Not only does it taste good, I'm actually blown away by the unique thickness of the broth over here. The biryanis, unfortunately, could be better, but hey, you might like them. You know, this is just my opinion. It's okay to disagree with me. And if you do disagree, right, I welcome you to please post your disagreements in the comment section below. I strongly welcome differing points of view on my channel, and I would honestly love to hear them. You know, it is the only way that I learn more about your experiences, about the food, and honestly, it makes me do these videos better. And if you have a better SUP KAMBING stall to recommend, right, please post your recommendations too. I would love to try them. So thanks for watching another episode of Great Speed Eats, the eat through the whole of Singapore. If you like this episode, give it a like, comment below, subscribe, and share this content, and turn on the notifications bell. And I'll see you in the next one for more eating. Bye-bye.